Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing today? Grab your coffee, maybe a snack or two. Seltzer. Yeah. I've had so much coffee today. I'm wired. But it's okay. I don't think there's enough coffee in the world to get me to keep up with these kids. So, anyway, all right. What I'm going to be talking about today is something that's going to affect a lot of us. And it's not just those of us that live in hurricane-prone areas, okay? And you're probably asking yourself, well, why? Okay. Do you live in an area where there's natural disasters? Okay. So listen up. As we are right now in our season, our peak season of hurricane season, okay? And Florida's top emergency manager is warning of the potential for major electrical problems after a storm hits. Okay, now we're in an area, he said, of which supply chain issues are becoming more and more of a problem. And he relayed the concerns expressed to him by one of Florida's power companies. All right. He said, after the first incident in the country, there will be supply chain problems. They will be able to get power restored, but there are certain businesses or neighborhoods that may be on a generator power for months or years, and that is going to be problematic. Months or years. Now, when Hurricane Irma hit us, we were without power for 2 weeks. So, if we get hit again and we lose power again, that 2 weeks could be 2 months or 2 years. So that tells me that I need to get my arson gear and stock up on more gas for my generators. Get more solar powered, whatever I need to run my house. Okay? So this is not a municipal utility issue. This is not a Florida specific issue. This is a national issue. Okay? So the Florida Municipal Electric Association, which represents the common interest of Florida's 33 public power companies. All right. And it is taking longer for utility companies to obtain hurricane basics, such as transformers, wires, and poles. Now, moving into hurricane season, they typically increase their storm stock supply. Okay. They have their regular operating supply of materials. And then they have their storm stock supply. And they continue to function as their normal operations go. And then if a storm hits, they have a backup of supplies. And what they're finding this year is they still have that storm stock supply. And it may not be as high as it typically is, and their normal operating supply is diminishing. And it is not as high as it normally is. So it's also found that orders of transformers and other supplies traditionally took 3 to 6 months to arrive. But those same orders that are made today by power companies have delivery dates as long as 2 to 6 years from now. Yeah. So some manufacturers are actually declining to accept orders altogether due to these historic backlogs. And she said, the Kissimmee Utility Authority said, we have enough equipment on hand to be able to handle anything that may come our way. But they're noticing that these supply chain issues started during the pandemic. So they stocked up on parts. They said our emergency stock levels are met, which means we have enough equipment on hand to be able to handle any type of power restoration due to a potential storm or hurricane. And other companies, however, they are feeling the pinch. SECO, S-E-C-O Energy, which services Lake County, Sumter County, and Marion County. They're already warning their customers about supply chain constraints. They sent them a letter. And this shift changes business models to operating around available materials. Now, Jacksonville Electric Authority, they said one of their transformer shipments was supposed to arrive in May, but now it got postponed to November, which just so happens to be the end of hurricane season. They said that they do have transformer inventory that's dedicated to meet storm response. And a spokesperson for Duke Energy, they said that their company has a proper supply of materials to restore power in event of a major storm. And Orlando Utility Commission, they acknowledged the difficulty of what the industry is facing now too. And they said that the supply chain issues certainly are impacting many industries, and the utility is no exception. And they said that our procurement team saw early indicators and pre-ordered items for the current hurricane season, including wooden poles and pole-mounted transformers. And that Florida Power and Light said that their company saw the longer lead times for many of their items and began stocking up on materials earlier than normal. And they said we have to look at what recovery is going to look like before the storm, and recovery is going to look a little different this year. And if the supply chain issues result in longer power outages after a storm hits, local emergency managers, they're going to have to keep the storm shelters open longer. Garbage is going to take longer to collect. Debris is going to take longer to collect. Communication systems are going to be down. The power is going to take longer to get restored simply because of the supply lines. Home repair is going to take longer. There's going to be tarps on roofs for longer. Much longer than we saw when Hurricane Irma came through. And this continue to place orders for more materials, including from companies overseas, while crews they're refurbishing transformers in-house and working with manufacturers to secure parts needed to complete a transformer rebuild. And they're collaborating with other power utilities to see if they can share their resources now. And in the meantime, a bipartisan group of the U.S. congressional representatives from Florida, they wrote a letter to FEMA asking the agency to intervene and increase production. They said that the weakening systems will make them more susceptible to damage when disaster occurs. And FEMA must employ mitigation efforts with the local Florida electric community to ensure that transformers, bare wire, meters, and other electric grid equipment will be available ahead of the first disaster. So this is telling me one thing. We're going to start having and seeing more grid down. And it's just not going to be with hurricane season, guys. All right? Think about, use guys that live up north where blizzards and what, you're not going to be able to run your heat. Think about it. Prepare now so you can survive tomorrow. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fearless.